When I heard that Elon Musk was talking with Peter Diamandis about a prize for carbon capture, and I called up Greg and I said, hey, I'm gonna watch this video on a $100 million X Prize. And Greg said, well, I already have the solution.
I could not have gotten the Crops team together without the help of David Mitchell. He's the executive, I'm the idea guy.
20 years ago, they'd come up with the idea, no one listened. 10 years ago, they proved it worked, no one listened. And I said, well, I'm willing to dedicate the next 4 to 10 years of my life making this happen.
We work very well together because we've been friends for over 30 years. And he really likes running an operation that does real good, real innovative good for the entire world community.
Within 6 weeks, we'd formed a team of 12 people that are just amazing. And we're off to save the world.
I was excited to jump in and do something that was actually good for the world, because it feels like so often in corporate America, I'm making the world more neutral.
All my life, I've just wanted to get into something where I can make a difference in the world.
The world in which we live now won't look the way it does if global warming continues.
It's about us. And if we don't do something soon, we're in big trouble.
The future of the human race and all life on the planet to some degree is affected. So it's very important.
Like David likes to say, we're saving the world. So I guess that's what we're doing.
The Crops idea came to me because I grew up here on Mobile Bay, southern Alabama, and one of my tasks was to clear the fields of corn stover after the corn cobs had already been harvested. And the ditch is where it rotted and went into the atmosphere. And it suddenly occurred to me, why not put it safely away in the deep sea? The carbon is eventually going to end up in the deep sea, whether you like it or not. In fact, most of the carbon in the biosphere probably is in the deep sea already, and it's inert. It does not interact with us. The clue about this that started me thinking in this way was when I noticed the curve of CO2 in the atmosphere, which rises over decades, but every year there's a little wobble. In the summer on the northern hemisphere, there's about an 8% reduction in the carbon dioxide content of the atmosphere because all the plants growing in the northern hemisphere have captured that CO2. It's a huge clue. It has been sitting there for a long time, but no one thought, why don't we use that wiggle in the curve?
When you have corn stovers, you have already captured carbon. Some of the biggest industrial plants put up to 4,000 tons of carbon a year into permanent storage. We can take 4,000 of these in just a few trips with big boats and do the same thing without building a multi-billion-dollar machine.
Crops is a proven way to store carbon efficiently, verifiably, affordably, and safely. The crop system works internationally to help solve a major global problem. Countries of any size can be a part of the solution because all of them have agriculture.
Over the next couple years, we can scale this very rapidly because we're using all existing technology. So we can scale up to thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, and ultimately billions of these to help remove the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere.
How much diesel fuel did you burn? How much did you put in the air to get it down below? Well, all of our research and studies show that it's about 92.5% carbon efficient now. Meaning, if you take it from the field and get it into the deep ocean, for every 1,000 pounds of carbon you've sequestered, you've only burned 92.5 pounds.
We've been looking at zero emissions vehicles and things like that to reduce the amount of carbon that we put back into the atmosphere, but it's an extremely small percentage compared to the amount that's being sequestered away. So even using diesel tractors, it's working pretty well. It's about 1 pound of carbon put back out for every ton of carbon that's sequestered.
Crops is better than the usual manufacturing engineering approach because it's an order of magnitude cheaper, certainly. We believe that we can sequester a ton of CO2 for about $100. The plant that just opened in Iceland sequesters in a whole year 3 seconds of the world's CO2 emissions, just 3 seconds, at a cost of $1,500 a ton.
But the question is, how can you do it more efficiently, more profitably? And the reason it needs to be profitable is that profit can go in the hands of the farmers, the truck drivers, the sea captains, and everybody along the way.
We are up to this challenge, and we know the world is ready.
So we'll get there, but one day at a time, one corn bale at a time. Jeez.